I got the virtual back set. Virtual
Perfect.
background.
Nice. Hello and welcome to Mostly Minnesota Music. I'm Ann Tracy. I'm here with my co-host,
Heather Baker.
Yes, and we are excited to finally catch up with Mr. Lewiee Blaze. Thank you so much for being with us.
Oh, thank you for having me. The pleasure is all mine.
Yeah, I've seen you perform at protests, and I've seen you perform online, and I was just enthralled. I always excited when I see that you're going to be one of the speakers, or you're going to be performing at something like this. And I thought I want to know more about this gentleman. So I might just ask you to start by tell us about yourself and how you got into the music and the art and the advocacy and the activism, and tell us about you.
All right. Thank you. Well, I got to say, first off, it's an honor to be able to, share space with y'all. You guys are amazing. I really love the work that you're doing. I didn't know that you were associated with the Women's March as well. Like, I'm a big supporter of empowerment for our women. I was very upset that last march got canceled too. Like,
yeah.
But
hey, we can say what we want about that, but yep. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. But So I go by Lewis McCaleb, but I go by Lewiee Blaze, Lewiee Blaze. I'm born and raised in the Twin Cities of Minnesota. I lived in Minneapolis and St. Paul all my life. I graduated from the high school for Recording Arts in 2017. Then I went on to start my own business, and we're social entrepreneurs. So what we did, we threw a lot of community events. We facilitated for young people, and we managed a couple different multimedia campaigns that were really directed to killing stereotypes and stigmas and changing the narrative. And what that business is called is N4 Collective, right here on my shirt. And this is an acronym for N to the fourth power. And these four powers are new mindsets, new media, new leadership, and new narratives. So that was my brief history. I go by creative, storyteller, a visionary. I say creative because there's so many things that I like to create. I'm a wordsmith. I like to create space for others to be able to be themselves. I'm a storyteller. I like to tell stories, not only my own story, but tell stories of others, tell stories of successful businesses that's doing work in the community. And I'm a visionary. I have so many amazing ideas and goals and dreams, and ultimately it's all rooted in this passion of just wanting the world to, be a better place, be a place of love, of community and peace. So, that's pretty much me and what I do and what I'm about.
Awesome. So the four is the mindset, media, leadership, and narratives. Did I get that?
Absolutely.
Nice.
Absolutely.
Nice. And how did you come up with those four? I mean, I think they're awesome, but.
Oh, yeah. So actually, I wasn't the only one that came up with them neither. It was a collective of individuals. And what happened in 2018, I was managing a new narrative project based out of St. Paul in partnership with the High School for Recording Arts, Irreducible Grace Foundation, and also Soul Touch Productions. And that was a project that was sponsored and funded by the St. Paul and Minnesota Community Foundation and the Kellogg Foundation. And it was like a national project. And really the work was rooted in truth and transformation and healing and racial justice. And ultimately our assignment was to change the narrative for Black males, because living in this society, there have been a lot of things that has happened. And it causes, people to feel the type of way about somebody that don't look the same as them, right? And this is where stigmas are created and stereotypes of that such. But even myself as a Black male, I had to realize that I lived in some stereotypes myself. So it's like, if you're going to create a new narrative, that starts at home, right? Yeah. So we began to brainstorm, like, how can we create that new narrative? What's the route? And in order to change the world, you got to change yourself. And we start with the mind. So we brainstormed different words. We threw out mindsets, and like new mindsets. That was cool. Then we threw out media and leaders and a bunch of words we threw out. And we pretty much picked the four words that stood out the most. And then we put them together in a very creative way of saying like, yo, this is into the fourth power. And these four powers of like mindsets. That's self-care, being able to take care of yourself, right? Actually looking at yourself as I'm a tree, I'm a seed, and I need to be nurtured the right way. New media, that's about self-expression, being able to go out into the world and do what we love and exercise our talent and our skills. And we acknowledge that it's so many forms of mediums as well, right? It's not just music and rap and dance, but, you know, people are cookers as well. You know, there are hairstylists out here that are amazing. You know, people who garden, you know, everything is art, literally. So that's what self-expression is all about. New leadership, that's about self-confidence. And for we have this mantra of stating that the wise are young and the young are wise, right?
Amazing.
Thank you. Yeah, you know, as young people, we've been silent and sealing, and a lot of decisions are made about our future, and we're not at the table, you know, and we get told to wait a lot, you know, but some of us have lived experiences that made us grow earlier than others, you know, grow faster than others. You know, I can only speak for myself, and being the man of the household at 13 and having to go out and make my own money at 14 and stuff like that, right? So now I'm 23, but I've seen a lot, you know. So I am a youth, but I understand that I have wisdom as well, and I have the confidence to state how I feel and not care about what other people's opinions are. And then last but not least, new narratives. That's really understanding self-worth, right? Ever since we're born, we understand that we are born with love. We're born worthy. We're born the perfect us, how it was designed to be. But when we go into the society, we get programmed by the people, places, and things we're around. And a lot of times we consume things that are unhealthy for us. So new narratives is all about deprogramming yourself from some of those unhealthy things and relearning new things that is best for you and your success. And that's what we call self-worth. And that's like the 4 powers theory behind N4.
Nice. Now, are you working with other people? Are you working with people? They wouldn't have to necessarily be younger people, but kind of through the system that you've discussed yourself?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So N4 is a collective. It's a community of artists, and we all use our work as activism to combat these social stigmas, whether related to race, gender, culture, intelligence, of health. And in a way, we're pretty much building a society within society. We have healers on our team, people who remind us of those self-care things, right? And people who actually understand trauma and healing and things of this sort. We have storytellers on our team, different forms of storytelling. We got photographers, videographers, we have public speakers, poets, authors, you know, like it's pretty much a society within society. And honestly, it's just my friends and people I done grew up with and came across in my field of work, and just having the same values and same goals, and pretty much coming together saying like, okay, we got to do this work in unison. So we got like this one mind, one body, one soul type of mentality where like, you know, it's not like an essential leader of the group. Like, I am a part of the original squad that created N4, but we understand that we all are leaders in our own right. You know, so N4 is a community of people who know their power and are shining their light into the world. You
know, what got you all at the table at the same time? Because you said, I mean, the power of the group is amazing. I mean, I think that's how you change the narrative. You know, one person at a time, but then collectively. What was the germ that really got you guys to start doing this?
Oh, so to be completely honest with you, when we first began, we were a group of young Black men. It was just 5 of us, my brothers who I grew up with. And we began to build our experience of being community advocates and launching a multimedia campaign on where in St. Paul, we interview Black males to change the narrative for Black males. We interview positive role models. So we interview Mayor Carter. We interview Eliza Dares of the ACLU. We interviewed Dario Otero, an amazing entrepreneur with YouthLens 360, and other teachers and people who were changing the narrative. And then we went on to go on a tour, a local tour in St. Paul, and perform and facilitated at different schools and conferences. But after that new narrative project was over, us as young people, we were still struggling with changing our narratives at the time, right? We didn't really set our business up in a way to where we can be sustainable. And that kind of caused like a little mishap. But we were blessed enough to have mentors in our life. Anybody watching, like, make sure you have a mentor that can pour into you. We had mentors in our life who's lived this experience before, and they tapped into our unpotential talent, and they pushed us to think differently, anticipate more, and set ourselves up for success. So the entire year of 2019, personally, I really locked in. I just stayed at home the whole year almost, and pretty much created like a new plan for N4 to relaunch in 2020. So earlier this year in like January, I literally went on a recruitment spree and just reached out to anybody I knew and I felt good about who do their work. It really showed the overarching theme and goal of N4, and just asked, like, would you like to join and sign in? And by the grace of God, everybody said yeah. So yeah. So that's pretty much how it was, like a mad recruitment scheme earlier this year. And now we all are together in this community, but we also work in our own silos as well.
So you've had an interesting 2020. I mean, you started out with something like that, and as I said, I know, and I've seen you through the different protests that I've attended, and I'm sure you go to at least as many, probably many more than I do. So how did that timing? How do you think the timing of that? I don't know if I want to say help or hinder, but it seems like you were well poised to.
Yeah, I think it was divine timing. Honestly, we talk about that all the time as well. Like, how I got a bunch of, like, I'm a relational organizer, and I'm great with relationships and just being a great person. And I was literally pulling people into this circle, and they never met each other before, but we all literally bond and click at the same level, at the same frequency, if you will. And January and February, we had a lot of planning meetings and set some pretty concrete goals, and when we were in the process of building our infrastructure. But when COVID-19 came and March and really blew up, that kind of like made everybody pause in a way, and go home. And we kind of like lost steam of like meeting consistently and stuff like that. But we kept our communication strong. We also looked at it as an opportunity to like get to know ourselves even more, though, right? Like, before we could come together as this collective and achieve these crazy goals, each individual has to go on their own personal path and know who they are and identify their purpose, passion, and peace, right? So really, that's what we took earlier this year to do. And from March on to April, on to May, that's what the focus was. And then in May, when George Floyd was killed, we literally all gravitated back towards each other, and we went right back out into the streets, right back out into the trenches, and just jumped into this work. And in a way, all of these events did hinder our like personal focus and our goal, but at the same time, it really helped us realize like how we need to navigate moving into the future. So it's a blessing and a curse, I feel like, with COVID and with everything that's happened around social justice and the murder of so many people. We just got to keep on going, keep on fighting.
Well, I think of the impact of a group like yours. I mean, the murder of George Floyd obviously was kind of, it was the shot heard around the world. I mean, but he wasn't the first man to be killed. It was just there was something about this, and and there are a million things about this, but the preparation of your group, having a group that was prepared to tell the narrative, to lift up the stories. I'm sure you're one of the reasons that this has become an incident that might bring us further along, that might bring us good, if you know what I'm saying, and so it's.
Absolutely. Thank you for sharing that. I truly believe that's what it is. I just shared earlier with somebody that, like, when George Floyd was murdered, Personally, I had like a deep spiritual connection to that whole situation, and I just had to walk into my calling. I really followed my intuition. I went with what I was feeling the entire time, and I found myself out there protesting, getting hit by smoke bombs and rubber bullets. I had the marks. I had all of that going on in the front lines, and I noticed very quickly that that wasn't fun, right? And I started to develop this mentality of like life is a marathon and not a race. And in a way, we out here playing checkers while other people are playing chess. So I realized like it's one thing to be out here protesting, but we got to protest with a purpose, right? And like what is the follow up after that? And going back to N4, this is why I said it kind of hindered us in a way, because we got some amazing goals set and some amazing work that is about to be implemented and be done. But I feel like the rise of the protesting and the murder and everything, it kind of took us off of that track where we wasn't focusing on us. It was about like what's going on in the world then. But now we've been able to reflect from the past times and get back to like our solid goals of what we need to achieve as a collective.
I think that we're playing checkers while others are playing chess. That's an amazing line.
Yeah, it's just the truth.
I'm going to be using that a lot. My day job as advocate, I've been a long time advocate, and people don't, the activists, we're playing checkers all the time, and then you've got lobbyists and others who are playing chess, and they're two different games. The wisdom of that sentence alone is amazing.
And I just learned how to play chess this year. So like all of this is so like, this is why I said it's so divine, like the timing with everything, and some of the relationships I've been able to gain over this past year are really going to transform my life. I feel like some people I've met that really inspired me, really challenged me to think differently, have a new perspective on life, and really helped me grow within this process. So I'm just very grateful for everything. And yeah, that concept of just like, checkers is very simple, short, and to the point, very quick. But with chess, you need some actual strategy. You need patience. You need, to have emotional intelligence and anticipation and all of these different critical thinking skills, which you don't need that much for checkers. It's just, it is what it is. So yeah, I can't wait to see the day where our people could just move more strategically.
I think that's so smart. Do you have some tangible goals? And this is kind of a two-parter. Do you have tangible goals, and are there things that we can do, or people who are listening and will watch this later can help you reach any of these goals?
Oh, that's beautiful. Thank you very much. Well, the first goal that we're working on crafting right now is to get our website up. We most definitely got some infrastructure things that we need to take care of. So one is to get our website up. Two, we are revising our business plan, so like back office things like that. And then our third goal is to launch a campaign next year. I can't give too much information about the campaign and everything, but yeah, that's really like where our mind is focused. Like, how can we come out next year with just a whole new feel, whole new look, and a whole new strategy on how to mobilize community, essentially. And our mission is to provide healing and transformation to the world. So right now, what we're working on is really getting our finances in order. And we've been planning on doing some fundraising pretty soon. So I'll say being able to like tap in and like just build a relationship and potentially help financially, maybe, or like just any other resources as far as like opportunity to like spaces or different places to navigate. We love working with young people. So anybody, we're also in the field. That's actually one thing I didn't share. We're in the field of facilitating. So I've been working with a diversion program in Hennepin County. They got young people who just came out of JDC and they're transitioning into the community. So I consult with the link every week and host host a healing session. And we're working on developing that same thing over in Ramsey County right now for some of our healers to do that work. So really like different opportunities like that where we could come and break bread with people and be contracted to do some work, or potentially potentially partner on transformational projects. We're open to, hear new ideas and meet new people.
What inspired you personally to get to where you are, or was this just something you've always had and it's just grown as you've grown as a person too, or?
I say both of those, actually. Like, really both of those. Like, it's something that I've always had in me. Like, I remember being young and being creative and using my imagination and finding so much freedom in that. And I remember always having this feeling of like, I'm gonna be a star, or like I just gotta be the best in everything I do. That's why I was such an amazing scholar. Like, I had to be the kid with the straight A's. Like, I was always this brilliant person. What I could say though is like, when I transitioned into like early adolescence, middle school, high school, I began to get more understanding of my environment, and the struggles that were happening at home and in my community. And it began to like really cause a lot of trauma in my life and the way I operated. And that really shifted some of my actions and behaviors. So I really fell off the track that I was going and started to walk on this dark path. But I was able to turn from that situation and learn from my mistakes that I created, and really come back and identify what my purpose is. Like, I need a purpose, and I need to do what I love. So really that inspiration just came from growing up with nothing. Like, I came from a household with family separation, raised by a single mother. It was plenty of days where like wasn't no food, and like these deep struggles that we hear in poverty all the time. Right. The inspiration comes from that, because it's knowing that we are better than this. It's knowing that we can acquire and we can achieve more. So I've always kept that fire lit, if you would say.
I was gonna say I watched your series that the Hook and Ladder hosted, and the different people that you had for each series. It was incredible to see the people that you chose didn't, what do I want to say? I'm probably not picking the best word here, but they didn't let some of their not perfect choices or things that they have gone through identify exactly who they were. They took it as a growth point and pivot. And you did such a great job on people want to put it in the corner, shy away or whatever. And you kind of focused on it and brought light, and it brought them more light in their life too.
Absolutely. Yeah, most definitely. Thank you. Thank you for pointing that out. And that's what this life is all about, right? It's about relationships and who you know. All of those people that we were able to acquire for our Young Voices Matter episodes are real relationships and people who we actually know. And, those are the type of people that like I could call and they wouldn't charge me for anything type deal, they've been able to help me grow. And now that I'm in a position where I can do more, I'm learning more about the industry. I really found joy in creating platforms that'll shine that light on others, because I understand everybody has a story to tell, right? Like new narratives. Narrative is all about a story. And we understand everybody has a story to tell, no matter what you look like, no matter how big you are, how small you are, no matter what gender, you have a story. And that story is valuable. And that story is precious, and we understand that sometimes things happen to us in our past, but that really don't have to define who we are. We are meant to learn. Every day is an opportunity for growth. So yeah, that Young Voices Matter episode, actually, like, that is the type of work that we are very passionate about. That's literally the definition of N4. It's like using artistry as activism. right? We brought our different creative juices there. I brought my creative ability as a host, right? We were able to reach out to some of our N4 members who are poets and who create music, and we implemented the music performances. Then we had the special guests come and people who are actually creating solutions and pretty much changing the narrative in their own right, and partnered up with the Hook and Ladder Theater. Shout out to the Hook and Ladder Theater. Shout out to the Minnesota Young Champions. That's a great partnership right there. And really the focus was to do something for the election coming up, that civic engagement. That's why we focused on that. But now we found so much love and we see the potential of that project. So for 2021, we're looking to expand that and do something consistent and keep the creative content coming.
I like, yes, you're changing the narrative. That's huge. Like I said, I just can't tell you enough how I like, because even ourselves, we hold ourselves down going, holding on to stuff, and to change the narrative is so powerful.
Absolutely. It's most definitely powerful. And like, the key is to know that like, anybody has the power to do it. Like we are born with that power, and it really becomes to be a mind over matter thing. Actually, I think this would be a good time to share some of our core values at N4, what we believe in. We believe in love over hate. We believe in freedom over fear. We believe in prosperity over pain. And we believe that we are victorious instead of victimhood. These are our core values, and it's how we show up. It's how we represent ourselves, and it's the message that we want to send to others to let them know to do the same. Essentially, like at the core, we're just messages, right? We're just here trying to deliver the message to people and enlighten folks to get that power back, take that power back.
That's an amazing superpower that each of us has, but it's it's a meta superpower to be able to help people find that within themselves.
Absolutely.
So thank you all for doing that, because that's hard to do at any age, because I didn't just turn 23. I don't know if you saw some of my roommates sneak in here. I got roommates, kids who are nearly 23, but I mean, at any age, it's hard when you find yourself in a hole to get out of it, to create the narrative that's going to get you out of it. So
sometimes all we need is somebody to love us too, right? Like, we believe the key is love. Do what you love, and ultimately, like, find that self-love too. Like, begin to love ourselves. And I done found that like another huge part of that is forgiveness. The power of forgiveness is everything. Like, we got to start forgiving ourselves for the past and things that we did. We got to forgive people in our life who done, hurt us. As much as it may hurt, as much pride as you may have, we can't walk around with that dead weight all the time, because literally all of that, we call it psychic pounds. And it just weighs you down, literally physically and mentally. But once we can understand the power of forgiveness and we can release some of these burdens, if you will, we become lighter, light as a feather, stiff as a bird, and then we can fly, and be in a place of liberation. So that's what it's all about.
Nice. I don't want to ask you to get into the campaigns, because I get you're not to a point where you're going to do that. But if you had a crystal ball, if you could think of some dreams for yourself and for the N4 Collective for 2021, what would you really like to see? What do you envision?
Oh yeah, so next year, most definitely, it's a couple of things that I'm setting up that we are looking to get implemented. One is the Young Voices Matter TV series that we have coming, having that be a consistent thing. So right now we're working on raising the funds to be able to implement that project, and be able to provide some additional earned income for young people as well. So like 2021, we want to be able to, become a sustainable business, be able to not only create our content as creatives, but also continue to facilitate for young people and help those who are in a place of hurt, in a place of trauma, to like come out of those and start to look at their situation differently. So in 2021, I'm looking to have a few systems set up: the Young Voices Matter, the creative content system going, and then also with our programming, we're looking to implement some programming as well that'll be somewhat of like a mentorship program. And this will provide an opportunity for us to work for ourselves, and also provide an opportunity to cultivate young people and help them transition into early adulthood. So those two things is what I'm very passionate about. And I'm really hoping that we could launch the campaign next year, when everything is put together, like the back office work and everything. And we got like, the budgets and the partnerships and all of those things that come along with this project, really looking to launch it next year. And this campaign, what it will be, what I could let you know, is not just going to be just any type of media campaign as like just about music and art and stuff like that. But the initial focus is to create an urban development plan that can really help transform some of these communities that have been systematically oppressed, right? That have been systematically hurt. And we want to be able to create our own system, create our own structure, our own way of life, if you will, that can begin to educate people, that can begin to empathize, that can begin to engage and entertain, all in this name of love, music, humor, laughter, and all of that. So I'm very excited, very beautiful. But most definitely next year, I want N4 to be a sustainable business. I want every individual that's a part of the collective to be able to sustain themselves, because another great thing about N4 is like, this is a business, yeah, but each individual, a part of N4, has their own business, so like, I want to see everybody on the team winning. We have some amazing entrepreneurs, some amazing people. Like, I want to shout out my brother Lamonte Lewis. He just released his second book. The title of this is called Change in the World. He's only 21. He just turned 21 the other day as well. And he's already released 2 books. It's an amazing story of poetry and his mind and his heart and his soul. And it's really seeing things like that, like being able to get the platform that we need to have our voices be amplified.
Well, and I'm just going to emphasize, because I worked in the nonprofit sector for a very long time. Funny enough, I really work in rural areas, but so you've worked in the past with the Kellogg Foundation, and they are all about entrepreneurism. And you've worked with funding from it sounds like the Minneapolis and St. Paul Foundation. You personally, and probably others around you, have institutional knowledge to make this happen. You know how this happens, which is amazing.
Yeah, it's a blessing. And to be honest, within the work, we didn't have that knowledge. Like, we had to learn, and fall through some pit holes, if you will. You feel me? And gain the experience. But yeah, I've been blessed to walk into some new spaces and some new circles, and like learn about grants and learn about funding, learn about the philanthropy field, essentially. And it's most definitely gonna help with the way we rebrand ourselves and when we launch next year, because like you said, it's institutional knowledge that we must acquire, and we can make these things happen. And then another thing as well that we pride ourselves on is not being dependent, though. So like N4, we're not even a nonprofit. We're actually for profit. And then we have the mentality of like creating our own opportunities. So like, we have yet to receive the grant, but this year we've had multiple projects where we've been contracted to do work, right? So respecting ourselves as entrepreneurs and people respecting us as a business and contracting with us to do work and providing our own opportunities. So it's like, we would love to put together a project and receive some government funding to do some of this work. But then again, we're not really dependent on that, because honestly, like, we don't trust the government. Especially like me as a Black man, like I just don't trust the government. This society, it's so much fake love out here, and when we got it ourselves and we have that ownership, we maintain that ownership, we have full control over what we want to do, you know, and that's when we could do our best work, when we have full control.
My dad is a lifelong entrepreneur. I guess I have my own business too. And he always says, the best business plan is your next customer.
I love that.
Yeah. I mean, that's what you need. You need, you know, you're meeting a need and you should get paid for it. It's, you know, you don't need to be beholden to people who shift based on the wins. I mean, and I've worked with a lot of grant funding. So yeah, you're a chess player, my friend. So good.
That's funny you said that. Actually, the person that taught me how to play chess, she told me, yes, it was a woman too. Thank God, right? That's so amazing. I love learning from women. I always told all my friends, I told them like I would love to work for a woman. Like women, they are the true CEOs. Like where I praise the woman. But yeah, she actually told me like, yeah, you play chess already, so I know you're gonna be good. And it's just like my natural instinct of how I operate, you know. And then got to really play chess, and I've been getting my butt kicked, but I'm working on it. You know, we working on it.
That's how you learn.
Yeah, fail forward. It's this concept we got called failing forward. Shout out to John Maxwell. That's one of the books. And that's another thing we do too at N4. We give each other books to read and stuff like that. Like nice. It's all about knowledge and information. You know, it's important. But yeah, failing forward, just that concept of like knowing that you're not gonna win all the time. You know, you're gonna take some losses, but get back up and keep going, and we keep moving.
I say if you're not failing at something, you're not trying hard enough. You know, you can spend your whole life never failing. You're never going anywhere either, or you're damn lucky. I mean, that's
very lucky.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of the and not even really. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, it's you learn so much by doing that. So that's amazing. How can people find you now? What are the best ways?
All right. Yeah. So I exist on all social media. And the collective exists on all social media. So like Facebook, Instagram, Twitter right now. You can follow me at Lewiee Blaze, Lewiee Blaze. And you can follow the collective at N4 Collective. The letter N, the number 4 Collective. And it's the same for all social media. We like to keep it simple, right? Simplify things. And yeah, you could follow us and stay up to date on what we're doing. And like I said, we're in the process of getting websites up as well, because we understand not everybody is social media friendly. So we want to be able to appeal to the masses, and we don't want to have any restrictions on anybody that want to get in touch with us and work with us, or, you know, teach us something. Like, we love learning as well. Like, yeah, it's been times when like people that hit me up just because they wanted to like show us some art or stuff like that. So, you know, it's just all love over here. So follow us on social media for now, and websites coming soon.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic. And do you have any, and this is a bad question to ask, especially during COVID. Do you have any events? Do you have any regular ways where people could run into you at all?
So right now we don't have any consistent events going on. But one thing that we've been looking to do is partner up with the Creator Space, where we pretty much host out of. So the Creator Space is an amazing incubator hub in St. Paul, Minnesota. They have multiple studios for artistry, and it's an amazing community of different creators and entrepreneurs and really dope people there. And they've been able to host some events recently, very COVID-friendly events. So we've been in communication with them about potentially doing like a consistent open mic or something like that. So you can be on the lookout for that. But other than that, right now, everything has been very business orientated.
That's good. It's taking the time to do it right. So that's fantastic. Because I follow you on all the different social things, I will wish you a belated happy birthday.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. And now what would you like to see for you personally for your 23rd year? What would you like to see? What would be a highlight?
What would be a highlight? That's a good question. What would be a highlight? Honestly, what would be a highlight for me is to be able to become a homeowner. Become a homeowner. I want to be able to accomplish that in this next year. I just recently was able to acquire my own apartment for the first time as a young person. And I got history in my life of being homeless and things of that nature. And I just work so hard and I grind so hard. But like really understanding the lay of the land, I'm ready to level up, you know, and a part of that evolution, a part of that elevation is ownership, you know. So I'm looking to have some home ownership over this next year. That would be a huge highlight. And that'd be like a great way to leave a legacy for the future.
Nice. Nice. All right. We're going to all manifest that in our brains for you a little bit. I think that's attainable. I think that's, yeah, I like that answer. So as I said, thank you so much for the times that I've seen you. I just thought I need to know more about this gentleman. And now I'm glad that I have known more, and my brain is already thinking about, I wonder, see if I can connect you to different people. Cause that would be awesome. Cause you're doing some really super important work that will lead us all forward.
Wow.
We're at a point where, I mean, the world needs a new narrative, but especially in the Twin Cities, we got to work on our narrative.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. That really touched my heart with you sharing that, because that's most definitely what it's about, you know. And here in the Twin Cities, I think we still have the like spotlight on us. It's like we have a great opportunity to be a perfect example of how we could change the narrative. So as long as we continue to come together as a community, I see a lot of different circles that formulated after George Floyd died. I see a lot of different efforts being pushed into social justice and this unity, you know, this feeling of unity. And we are very grateful to be a part of this movement. And we are looking to create a world where we don't have to say, I can't breathe, but we can say we will breathe, right? We want to live in a world that is colorful, that is diverse and inclusive and understanding, right? Be able to have that shared experience. So that's what we strive for. And we most definitely are open to work with anybody that has the same intentions and same morals as us.
Nice. Well, thank you for leading us into being victorious.
Well, I want to thank you all. This was beautiful. I'm so happy we were finally able to get this together. I'm very happy we were able to establish this connection. I'm most definitely excited to just continue to build this relationship and move forward.
Awesome. Thank you.